Um, we're excited to play Kansas. We've had Friday, Saturday, very good padded practices. We will go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday will be AM. And then the kids will be able to get out on the 22nd, 23rd, 24th off. 22nd, we'll practice in the morning and then come back on the 25th. Have a Wednesday type practice on the 25th, a Thursday practice on the 26th. We'll walk on the 27th, then we'll play the AutoZone Liberty Bowl on the 28th. We're excited about that. The practices have gone well. On my right is our new defense coordinator. I'm very excited about him. It's Travis Williams. Comes from trees of Chiswick, Muschamp, Steele. Was a two-time Broyles Award participant, or however you say the word. And then certainly was a defense coordinator at UCF. And I went out and interviewed several guys, and this was a home run hire, in my opinion, and very excited to have him. And then on my left is Morgan Turner. And I think I visited about him the other day. He's had 7 guys drafted out there at Stanford. Another one that went and played in the NFL. And I felt like Stanford was tight end U. I think they had that name out there. I think they deserve that. But so we went out and got their coach because we'd like it to be this way here at the University of Arkansas. I'm ecstatic about both these guys. Very fine men, great family men. And just in all honesty, I couldn't be any happier with replacing the 2 quality men that left. But with replacing them, we're excited they're here. All right.
Hey, I have a question for new coaches. Trey Bates. I'm just curious for both of you guys how this materialized, how Coach Pittman reached out to you guys, and just your thoughts about being there, and welcome back.
Can I start? Yeah, so Coach Pittman reached out, and obviously he reached out to Coach Malzahn as well. And we got on the phone, had some conversations, and then we got in front of each other, and it's all Coach Pittman. Once I got in front of him, it was it's okay, because I heard all the stories about how great of a guy he is, and to get in front of him, it was easy, man. It was easy. So very excited to be here, fired up. My wife is excited, the girls are excited, so we're excited to get going.
Yeah, and a lot of change going on at Stanford right now. So I actually got a text from my uncle, who was born and raised in El Dorado, saying, hey, the tight end job's open out at Arkansas. So I went through couple people and got coach's number and shot him a message saying, hey, I'd be very interested in this job. Gave him a little bit of my bio, my background at Stanford, and it kind of went from there. Very, very quickly materialized, and I'm kind of figuring it all out right now. It's been fun.
How did things work with you, Coach, with I guess narrowing down a pool of candidates and eventually settling on these guys?
Well, with Coach Williams, I interviewed several guys face to face, and the thing that hit me about him was, obviously I didn't interview anybody that I didn't feel like was a good coach, from watching film on their product that they're putting out there. But then it became, what kind of man, what kind of recruiter? We need a recruiter at that position as well. I think good man, one that understands that recruiting is work. And I just heard so many great things about him from guys I knew that had called me. And then when I got in front of him, I can remember calling Hunter Yurachek and say, I found him, and there was no doubt in my mind. I said, this is the guy. This is the guy that we need. You try to go and you try to find fits, and really what your needs are as a head coach and what your needs are on your team. And I just remember calling Hunter, and I felt so good about it. And then, to be honest with you, and I wanted to do it the right way. I didn't want to hurt our team. I didn't want to hurt UCF's team and all those things. And then, to be honest with you, some situations had changed at UCF where I was able to, in my own mind, clear not hurting their program, our program. I felt like we needed to name a coordinator. And I talked to Gus, and we came to a conclusion of, well, let's do it Saturday. And I knew I was going to do it before practice on Saturday. And whenever we got off, that's when we've done it. And coaches talked to all the recruits and all this kind of stuff. But that was him. And then with Morgan, I knew a lot of people that knew him. I knew Coach Shaw. We're on the board of the AFCA together, and I knew Coach Mason at Oklahoma State, and his dad actually called me, whom I knew. The dad obviously was the head coach at Illinois and DC or OCs in the NFL, and so I knew several different guys that not just those, but more than that. And then his resume was, got a lot of guys in the league. So I knew that he would be a fine coach. I was just wondering what his personality and how he would fit in with us. So after visiting with him on the phone and those things, then basically I flew from Baltimore. Well, here they are. Can I say or no? Or I flew from Baltimore, who y'all thought I was going to, or not y'all, but somebody's tracking the plane. I was going to hire the guy from Maryland, which bless his heart, I mean, he had to deal with that. I flew from there to Tampa because I knew y'all was flying the plane or tracking the plane. UCF's in Orlando, so I flew to Tampa. He met me over there. We visited. And then in the meantime, he was down recruiting for Stanford in Miami. So we flew from Tampa to pick him up in Miami, and we had done the contract and all this kind of stuff during the day, picked him up and brought him back. And so, yeah, it was kind of fun, to be honest with you.
For the two coaches, just I'm Mortis Kirk, by the way, with Hogville, and welcome to Arkansas, both of you. But
Good man.
just
These
talk-
guys are all good people. They are.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Good.
about some of your, I know you just got here, I think yesterday, but just talk about the selling points that you guys feel like you can do for Arkansas. What are going to be your selling points to get?
Yeah, so I
prospects
just
coming?
got here last night. So got in last night, got to the facilities this morning. You got everything you need facility wise. And just when you get here, the stadium, the fan base, man, there's so much stuff that you can sell. Academics, the education part. So it's so much stuff that you can sell, just the jobs here, all of the folks that's here, the jobs that you could get here locally. There's just so many different things. But once I walked in and coach is showing me around, I was like, oh yeah, we got enough. We got more than enough. So, I mean, there's so much that you could sell. Great university. So it's easy.
Yeah, and I'll echo all that. I also have the unique situation. Like, I've been coming to Arkansas every year of my life. My mom was born and raised in El Dorado. We have a place on Lake Washita. So my summer vacation is going to Lake Washita. And so I've seen like a Razorback logo on an auto repair shop
Everywhere.
5 hours away. I'm like, oh, it's special. Like, the whole state has the back of everybody here, which is really neat. It's pretty cool. It's a great feeling for these guys to have. And so that's something like I've known my whole life. Like, all right, this place cares. Like, the whole state cares about these guys, and it's unique and it's special here.
Well, and he recruited Arkansas, recruited Hudson Henry and things like that.
When I wrote the story about you that night, it listed Arkansas among several areas, one of your territories. How have you done quite a bit of recruiting in Arkansas as far as tight ends and stuff?
Yeah, seeing Hudson going through Pulaski Academy there. And I've been some of the area schools and things like that, but most of my time spent here was went down to Hope a little bit, but spent a lot of time with Coach Kelly at Pulaski, and now Coach Lucas there. I was actually there a week before I got hired, hanging out with him.
I'm gonna try to introduce him to Lake Hamilton. I know Washita's the greatest thing ever, but you come on down to Lake Hamilton's pretty nice too.
Thanks, both you guys.
Thank you.
Hey guys, Tom Murphy, I'm with the Arkansas Democrat Gazette.
Smackover High School grad
Okay,
and Austin Hooper fan.
there we go.
My question to Travis, what would you maybe describe as what your philosophies are on defense? How you want to? That's awesome. Yeah, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna get to the ball. All right, we're gonna get to the ball. We're gonna play intimidating defense. You're gonna see the guys playing hard. So one of the best things you can get from a coach, from the opposing coach, man, your guys play hard. You know, so when you watch us, we're gonna play hard, we're gonna play physical. We have that mental and physical toughness that you need to play. You know, we're gonna get our tail to the ball, and it's gonna be sound. It's gonna be some sound defense. But at the same time, when teams watch us, they want to watch us and say, okay, those guys play hard and they play physical.
I can say this. I watched every game they played last year, and he scared me a little bit because they were ultra aggressive, you know, and a little more zero than I was even, you know, but if you got the guys can do it, you know, but 4 down, a lot of different fronts, a lot of different looks, intimidating. You have to really prepare for a defense like Coach has been running.
All right, we've seen Morgan in practice. What about what your role is between now and Great question. So what I'm doing right now, I'm on the phone with recruits, and then I'm at practice, and I'm just kind of watching the guys move around. And you know, I want them to see me out there. I saw them in the weight room. It was good to get around the guys in the weight room. So I'll just be around and watching them practice, and obviously recruiting and getting guys. So Coach Pittman and I talked, and that's kind of my role the next few days.
Yeah, I want him to evaluate what we have. It's hard not to. It's hard to go find if you don't know what you're looking for, you know. So I think that's the biggest thing, to get evaluated and let Mike and those guys run the defense for us right now. And then I need, you know, we've got a few scholarships open. I need to go to work on the recruiting and changing the team.
You've only had a few days. What have you made of the tight end room so far? And the commits, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of they're teaching me right now, so it's good. It seems like a really smart room. I'm learning the offense from them. But excited to work with the guys. I mean, I'm still honestly still learning the names of everyone on the team and all that stuff. So
Fair.
trying to keep my head above water. But it seems like a really good room. Got a couple old guys, I got a young guy, and then got a couple coming in. That should be really good too. That I'm going to be able to learn and grow with them and learning this offense.
I'm Scotty Bordelon with Whole Hog Sports. For Travis and Morgan, I guess just who are you guys' biggest influences in terms of like getting into coaching, and just I guess what drives y'all on a daily basis?
Yeah, I will start. One of my biggest is Coach Gene Chizik, who was my defensive coordinator when I was in college, and he got me into college coaching. And he always said I'll be a coach, so I just volunteered at my high school, and then he called me to be a GA. So I would say Coach Gene Chizik is probably my biggest, and Coach Joe Witt Sr., who was my linebacker coach in college. He's a linebacker coach for 24 years at one place. So those are my biggest influences as far as my career.
And I'm a unique situation. My dad's a coach. So like I grew up in that world. I've moved around a little bit as a kid. Like I've known that. And actually I tried to go do a different path. I tried to go in the business world and all that, but it wasn't for me. And I realized like, all right, this is what I know. Like I've seen my dad do this. He loves it. Like I want to go try to do it like him. And then so it pulled me back in. And even though my dad's telling me, oh, don't do it, it's a crazy life and all that, but like just seeing him and being influenced, wanting to do what he did, really drew me in.
Andrew Hutchison with Best of Arkansas Sports. Welcome to Arkansas, guys. Travis, for you played at Auburn, you played in the SEC. Was that important for you to get back into the SEC as a coach?
Yes, it was very important. Just understanding the SEC. You know, I like the competition, recruiting, football, everything. So it was important to get back and just understanding the landscape, understanding what it takes, understanding the type of player you need to be successful in the SEC. So that was a big selling point as well.
And for Morgan, what's the difference in the offense between what y'all did at Stanford and what y'all are going to do here at Arkansas, and how are you kind of adjusting so far?
It's like learning a new language. Like it's learning Spanish. All right, all the words mean the same things. You just got to figure out what those words are. Like a lot of the stuff we did last year, schematically, it's just different ways of getting to it. Like we were at Stanford a no huddle or a huddle team. everything on the wristband, like everything was detailed. We had checks at the line of scrimmage and things like that. And here, a lot of the stuff, I mean, you're going tempo, you're going fast with it. And so I'm learning how things are called and what formation, what's talking to us and all that. So it's a different way of relaying that information. But a lot of the stuff is very similar. So it's I'm trying to translate everything
Yeah.
to what I know.
I came from Georgia in the same world, with the check system, and I love the check system. And your answer will be, oh, well, we're never going to run it into that look, but because we play fast, but we also have either an option to throw it with KJ or an option for him to run it to try to get out of those bad plays. Stanford, I like the way that they were technically sound and physical. And of course, all of them, you have to, you can't go have a non-body, non-player that goes to the NFL. So obviously I knew his recruiting skills, but I came from the same world he was. And some of it I was, for my first spring ball here, I was like, why are we doing that? And then finally it was like, well, because the quarterback's got the option now to run or throw it. And that was one of my deals. I wanted to make sure that we had a quarterback that could have those options. And so he's going to have a little learning curve with that a little bit too, because he was in the world of 12, 11, 13 personnel.
Hey guys, Mason Choate, hogbeat.com, rivals.com. Travis, for you, I know you just got in last night, but have you had the chance to maybe look at some of the guys on the defense? And Coach Pittman said he watched a lot of film on you. Did you get the chance to watch any film on Arkansas?
Yeah, just doing some research beforehand, just kind of just seeing what they run. But you watch them on Saturday, you could kind of get a grasp of what they do and kind of overview what they do. So I'm kind of up to date on what they ran last year, and we'll be a little different. But just you look at it and kind of see the personnel. It's going to be better for me watching them at practice, watching the guys move around and evaluate the guys, just the movement skills and different things like that. So you can see, okay, what you have and what you need. So that's what I'm going to be doing today.
He met every one of them this morning lifting weights, so he's seen all the defensive guys.
Yeah, Coach Williams, what position group are you going to focus on?
I'll answer that one. We're not going to decide what he's going to do. He's going to run. He will not be involved unless the defensive guys ask him some things into the bowl, but we're not going to make any decisions about any of that until after the bowl game.
And Coach Pittman, I was hoping you could tell me about Jalen Daniels a little bit, Kansas quarterback, a guy that's
scary.
Yeah,
I tell you what, Kansas has some really unique runs. I mean, really unique. Some of the things they're doing with their offensive line. They have an option off of a lot of their runs, which is a little, we have to be prepared for that. He's early in the year running the ball a lot. Aggressiveness, I would assume they're going to go back to that because he would have been probably healthier than he's been in a long time. I know he played the last couple of games, but can throw it and can run. To me, he's what drives Kansas University, and we certainly are aware of him and all the great things that he does. But he's a really good runner and an exceptional thrower.
Coach Williams, I forgot to ask you all ago, he talked about Hudson Henry. Are there any current Razorbacks that you recruited? I didn't know if you recruited Cam Ball, Chris Paul, or any of those guys.
Yeah, so I know Cam Ball, I know Chris Paul, I know Chris's dad. So those are two guys that I know very well. Yes, sir.
Hey, Sam, there's a fine line between you guys being 8-4 or even 9-3 this year,
Yeah.
and being 6-6. What do you? Is there anything you can just maybe touch on that separated what another year like last year and then being 6-6?
I think, to be honest, our red zone offense, you can look at those in two of the games. We didn't get the ball in from the two twice, obviously Missouri and LSU. I think you look at our secondary play, certainly needs to improve a lot. And I think we can do that. It was injury wise and inconsistency both that we've got to get better there. But those are the two things there. And to be honest with you, obviously, I didn't think that we maintained our strength or we were strong enough. And nutrition has something to do with that as well. If you look at our players at the end of the year versus when it started in fall camp, we don't look like the same team. And that is nobody's fault but my own. But I did not feel like we had maintained or improved in those areas, and we've got to improve on the field. But you have to, we at times we've got physically beat, and I didn't feel like we were having those problems in the second year here. Obviously, we played some really fine teams my first year here, but I felt like we got whipped physically some, and we certainly have to change that too. So there's several offensive, defensive reasons where I think because we lost 4 games by 9 points, but we don't want to be saying that again. And so it's my job to fix it, and I think we're headed in that direction.
You know, all the energy that you guys went into the Outback Bowl with last year,
Yeah.
fans and everything. Well, that seems to be like Kansas now. They haven't
Yes.
been in the bowl in so long. And do you feel like you're going to have to kind of match whatever they bring to this game? And with all the opt-outs you've had, I mean, can you feel like you got enough depth to do that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think we'll be fine. We talked about this is starting 23 now. Obviously you have a different team than what you had at the end of the year, just as we did, not as many, but as we did last year, you know, with Burks and Williams and some of the guys that decided not to play in the game for good reasons. I'm not saying that. I mean, with Burks. But oh yeah, I think the ones that we have out there are fired up and ready to go. Again, at some point you want guys that want to be a hog, and the ones that want to, that are out there at practice, they're excited to be that way. I think we have enough talent out there to go and compete. And I believe that we'll do that with all my heart. And if you come to practice, I think you'll see that.
Hey, Jonathan Acosta with 5 News. This question's first for Coach Williams and then Coach Turner. Just what's the value of having these bowl practices in terms of getting acclimated to the team, seeing the players that you have to work with, as opposed to maybe if you had gone to a team that didn't have these bowl practices?
Yeah, it's huge. You know, when you come in, and especially for me, what coach and I really, when you go out there, you actually see the guys move around and you can evaluate and again, see what you have and see what you need. And so it's very valuable. Very.
Yeah, and the speed which I'm learning the offense, like it could not be done if there were not these practices right now. I mean, I'm learning it really fast. The guys are a big help. It would have been almost all recruiting at this point instead of learning the offense. And right now, like I'm kind of speaking the language a little bit and picking it up, and it's a huge help. And also working with the guys, like seeing their strengths, their weaknesses, what they need to work on. I mean, that's going to help going into spring ball. It's going to give me a big step up there.
I've got kind of more personal questions, but we just think about you guys, but you guys got wives and families and stuff. What was your wives and kids' reactions to coming to Arkansas?
Fired up. So got the news, called my wife. So we didn't tell the girls. So I have 3 daughters. So I have an 11-year-old, about to have a 7-year-old here in a couple of days, and a 5-year-old. So all 3 girls. So we told them all together that night, and they were just fired up and put the stadium on the TV, and that's where we going. And said, you know, we may have some snow, and it was fired up about snow.
That was the biggest sell, because when I talked to them on FaceTime, beautiful family. When I talked to them on FaceTime, they were going, and snow and snow and snow. So I'm like, you know how it is. You're going, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, I felt pretty fast it was a good thing. So I started, oh yeah, and snowmans and all that kind of stuff.
Fired up. They're fired up. So it was awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
it was.
Yeah, and my wife, like she's from the Bay Area of California, so she's leaving home. But then I told her, I'm like, hey, what do you think about Arkansas? She's like, yes, absolutely. I mean, she's been in the state. It's a place like, all right, I know that I have some comfort there. My kids have cousins that are 5 hours away, something like that now. So like that was an easy sell for her. And actually like my sister just moved here. The moving truck got there Saturday. Moving to her house in Rogers. Yeah. So like I couldn't think of anything more meant to be. Like her moving here, we get to come here. My wife's fired up. I have a four-year-old girl and 5-year-old boy. I showed him the logo when I showed him a picture of it, and he's, I remember that one. So they're at the age like they're not totally sure what's going on, but like, all right, I got some comfort there. I know it. It's pretty exciting.
I think you probably find houses are cheaper here than Palo Alto.
Just a little bit, yeah.
I was curious about your living situation because you're focused on learning the offense and learning your personnel and all this kind of stuff, and recruiting's going on. I mean, you guys living out of your car? What do they got you in an apartment? You staying with Coach Pittman? What are you guys doing?
I'm bunking up. No, they have us set up.
Which is
Pretty
happening.
nice.
Several coaches.
Right. They have us set up pretty nice. So we'll be comfortable. So this transition will be pretty good.
Lynx has been really good to us. They've been really, really good to us. I stayed there twice, and 2 times, and they'll have them. You're staying in a sweet thing right now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Staybridge.
Staybridge. There you go. Shout out to the Staybridge. Are they a sponsor? They need
There we
to
go.
be.
Oh,
But I think that's where, I think that's where both of you are right
yeah,
now.
definitely,
And
yeah.
they're gonna move into the Lynx here shortly.
I'm not sure if you traveled or redshirted in 01 as a freshman.
01, I redshirt.
Redshirt. So you wouldn't come here for the Auburn game here.
I wasn't.
So I think you might have all wins here in your career. What do you remember of the atmosphere, the crowd, whatever games here?
I don't know the win-loss, but I just know coming in here.
Great
The crowd. The crowd.
You do know the win-loss, but great answer.
But the crowd is always electric. Packed house is always good coming here. So I'm looking forward to being on the sidelines.
Sam, I'm curious. I know there are only a few practices in, but is there any of the young guys that you think you've noticed that are like really taking advantage of the opportunity that they're going to get?
Yeah, I think Campbell's one of them, obviously he's played, Crook, I'm excited to see what he can do. Manny Powell's looking good, older guy, but Landon Jackson, I think now finally it seemed to me like that leg is healed and he's moving really well. And of course, Jaden Wilson and Bryce Stevens, those guys out at wide receiver, it's their time, along with Isaiah and Bakke, and it's their time. And I've been really excited about them. And I think that's the young guys, most of the young guys, obviously. And Jay Lou, I think he's going to play a lot in this bowl game. So we're really, really excited to see some of these young guys, and they're practicing extremely hard, and we got to build confidence in them. And some of them don't need that, but most of them do. Some of them's got built in. But yeah, excited to see those guys.
And Morgan, you mentioned you have a couple old guys in your room. How much have they helped you? We always hear about the coaches helping young guys, but how much does the old guys help a new coach like you?
Oh, I'd be completely lost without them. I mean, they're out there. One's in, the other one's standing by me, telling what the signals are and telling what the plays are and what's going on. Yeah, I would have really struggled without them. It's been really good. It also helps me see, like, all right, how much do they know? How much do they really know this stuff? All right, do they know what they're doing? Do they know everyone else? Like, and so it's really good to get a feel for their level of knowledge of the offense.
And a little bit of it's unfair, but it needs to happen. And it's unfair to coach, but it needs to happen, just like you said, because he'll be ready to roll, know his kids, and then be ready to roll in spring ball as well.
Sam, I admittedly didn't watch a whole lot of Kansas during the regular season. What
Who?
Kansas?
Yeah.
What can you tell us about their defensive personnel?
They've got a defensive end, 47. Lonnie Phelps is a player now. I mean, really good player. Got Logan, their safety is really good. And then Bryant, they got a corner that's big time corner as well. And then, so they got a guy or more on each level. Miller is the linebacker that is making all kinds of tackles. So they have a guy, kind of like a really good player on each level of their defense. They play extremely hard. They're not overly aggressive. They're going to be a quarters team, two shell type team, things of that nature. But what they do it well. And I tell Coach Leipold, you can just see him. You can see his handprint all over the place. He's had so much success everywhere he's been, and you can feel it in his team. And I don't know if Trey or asked me the question about Kansas being kind of how we were last year, but I'm sure they'll be ready big time, and they're playing an SEC team, all that kind of stuff. But they tackle extremely well and they run the ball. And I think they've got a really good player at each level, more than just one, but a really good player at each level of their defense.
I'm curious about your offensive line too, with Ricky now out of the picture. What are you guys looking like up front?
We moved Bo to center. That's part of it too with Bo. We talking to Bo about coming back and all those type things. I think he needs a year. They keep about 8 in the NFL, and if you can't play center and guard, your value is going to go down. If you can, it's going to go up. So obviously, Bo's done a really nice job. We put him in there along with Marcus Henderson, but we've moved Bo in there, and then Crawford has gone to guard in there. And then the rest of the guys are the same.
Coaches, thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.